Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. Knows in this gospel, brother, from the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a little quick little info, quick little insight on the 101st Airborne Division, known as the Screaming Eagles. I briefly hinted at it in my transit, and I wanted to just get a few points, just kind of educate myself and you brothers on what this is and what it's going to lead to, or something to that nature. As you know, us here at Great Millstone, we pride ourselves, and I'm not saying pride in a bad way, we're going into research, man, but it's so much information and a lot of things to know and a lot of things to gather up, to the point that sometimes you forget things, you oversay things, or sometimes you misspeak. But nonetheless, it's just to give a little insight for the 101st Airborne Division, in case brothers wasn't too familiar with it. But I know brothers that was enlisted in the military, whether it be the Army or the Marines or the Air Force. This is history, and you will have to learn about this because they give you the history of World War II, okay, and how prolific that so-called small assault force was. Okay, even George Bush commended, or George Bush Sr. commended them on their sacrifices and their behaviors in their victory during World War II. Okay, but America will never go back to this type of dominance again, because the Most High is breaking the teeth of this whore and of this beast system. Okay, so it says the Screaming Eagles is a light infantry division of the United States Army, and in transit I said Air Force, but Salakia was the Army. Okay, because when you think of Airborne Division, you think of Air Force, but nonetheless, you know, it's along the same lines. It's still a branch of the United States military, but it says that specialize in air assault operations. It says it can plan, coordinate, and execute multiple Battalion-sized air assaults operations to seize the terrain. So right now they're over there learning the terrain through the particular NATO forces, because out of the whole NATO and the EU conglomerate, the NATO forces are more like the elites of their military. Okay, they are like equivalent. Basically, the NATO troops will be equivalent to the United States Navy SEALs, but even on a higher level than them. Okay, but it says assault operations. It says it can plan, coordinate, and execute multiple battalion-sized air assault operations to seize the terrain. It says these operations could be conducted by mobile teams covering large distances, fighting behind enemy lines, and working in austere environments which limit or degrade infrastructure. Okay, meaning like Saudi Arabia. Okay, you go out there to Saudi Arabia, which the scriptures go into the land barren and desolate. Saudi Arabia, places like Iraq, which Iraq has a lot of dung holes and hills and mountains, but nonetheless, it's still a lot of open terrain out there. Okay, that's why it says degraded infrastructure. And if you go into parts of Ukraine right now, you look at the city, it look like desolate wastes. But it says its unique battlefield mobility and high level of training have kept it in the vanguard of the U.S. land combat forces in recent conflicts. It says, for example, it says foreign internal defense and counterterrorism operations in Iraq and Afghanistan in 2015-2016, and in Syria as part of the Operation Inherent Resolve in 2018. Okay, so it says it was active since 1918, and it was reserved during the 1921 and 1942. Okay, and you go back to the years of 1942 and 1945, that goes into World War II. Okay, what they call the Screaming Eagles, engagements World War II, Operation Overlord, Operation Market Garden, Battle of the Bulge, Western Allied invasion of Germany, Vietnam War, Persian Gulf, Global War on Terrorism, Iraq War, and the Somali Civil War. Okay, and these are just a few things, tokens of history that brothers can look into if they want to get, you know, familiar with this information. But it says on July 30 of 1942, the Army Ground Forces ordered the activation of 2 airborne divisions by the 15th of August 1942. It says the 82nd Division, an organized reserve division ordered into active military service in March 1942, was ordered to provide a cadre to the 101st Division and the other divisions selected for the project for all elements except parachute infantry. It says as part of the reorganization of the 101st Division as an airborne division, it says the unit was disbanded and the organized reserve on the 15th of 1942 of August, and a reconstituted and reactivated in the Army of the United States. Okay, it says his first commander was Major General William C. Lee. Okay, and it goes into basically it goes into the history of it, man. Okay, so anyway, this is a video here I wanted to kind of look up. I was looking at this earlier. So
hey, want to know how I got this $50,000 check for an accident I was involved in over 5 months ago?
Man.
Its own territory. Well, bombs did in fact target Ukraine today. They were Russian. This aftermath in the southern city of Mykolaiv. Right now, the United States has about 100,000 troops in Europe. CBS's Charlie D'Agata is with some of them.
And like in transit, it stated that it was now headquartered in Europe for the first time since World War II. So it's not that they haven't been active, but that's the first time they've been headquartered in Europe since the time of World War II, as we know the history on that. But nonetheless, man, hey, the United States military, they're gonna have a plethora of problems because a lot of their defenses are outdated, and they focus mainly on solely offense. Because, like I said, in the transit, they're used to obliterating the opposition. Okay, with no type of how can I say, with no type of I can't say retaliatory, but meaning that with no type of I can't even think of a word, but you brothers should know what I'm saying. Basically, they're used to obliterating the offense without any type of conflict coming back or any type of fuck, man. You gotta get out of these bodies. Any type of, I can't say retaliation because, I mean, you know, they retaliate, but basically they're able to dish out the damage and not receive as much back through the offensive strategies. I say it that way. But anyway, I'll play the rest of the video.
Along Romania's border with Ukraine.
U.S. F-18 fighter jets take flight off the deck of the USS George H.W. Bush in the Adriatic Sea, taking the lead in NATO exercises dubbed Neptune Strike in support of European allies. NATO released this footage of American F-22 fighter jets in formation with Italian Eurofighters and Polish F-16s, even MiG-29s over the skies of Poland. It coincides with 2 weeks of NATO nuclear training drills currently underway. While on the ground, we joined America's most forward troops near the Ukrainian border. The 101st Airborne Division from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, now headquartered in Europe for the first time since World War II. With Colonel Edwin Mathaidis and Brigadier General John Lubis, we board Black Hawk helicopters to the edge of NATO territory.
Why is it necessary to have the 101st here? We bring a unique capability from our air assault capabilities. It's also incredibly meaningful to us to return to Europe after 80 years away.
With the Ukrainian border less than 5 miles away, we reach the forward operating site, where soldiers of the 101st and Romanian troops unleashed a live-fire assault on targets in a simulated battle.
This is exactly the kind of combat scenario Ukrainian forces are facing every single day. The big difference here is these Romanian troops are backed up with U.S. military firepower.
Every shot has to count. Every training event has to be the best we can do. It's something that our allies want to emulate, and then, of course, our adversaries are watching.
A show of force for America's allies and adversaries alike. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News.
And they say a show of force, but if y'all gonna show force, y'all gotta come harder than that, man, because the Russians, they're gonna come harder than that. Okay, so I got a couple of precepts here. Not too much, man. I'm actually at work right now. So this is the book of Psalms 140, and I'm gonna start at 1. It says, "Deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man, and preserve me from the violent man." Okay, and what was that going into in this day and age? This devil, this Edomite, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. It says, continually are gathered together for war, man. Okay, and continually because you go to it's out here in Manhattan, Kansas. Okay, you have forgot the name of the military base out there. Damn, the crazy part, I was just reading about it. But nonetheless, you got troops that's going out there to Germany. You got some that's going, well, some that left Poland, some going to Germany. It's basically, and they're touching down in Ukraine, because basically what America is doing, they're basically putting their troops within their allied regions because they're spread too thin. So they have to team up with other of their allies in order to have the numbers, because the numbers is clearly not on their side. This is why I believe they're going to have to reinstate a draft here. Okay, just like Russia, they had to recruit, I believe, like 300,000 troops. But in America, you're going to need more because they missed 50% of their margin last year. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to have to bring back a draft, man, to fight this war, because it's going to get that bad. But it says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart, continue they are gathered together for war, okay? Because Esau has been at war since he's been a nation in the Western in the Western hegemonies, man. He's constantly been at war. Like they say, America's been a nation 224 years. This man has been at war 230 plus years out of those years. He's never saw peace because he doesn't have a peaceful solution, because he's not created for peace. He's the sword. Like with Alexander, and he's also, if you go into like the Diadochi Wars, etc., but you go into the conquerors of Alexander the Great, he was basically at war his whole conquerage. And after his conquerage, pretty much he died after the 12th year. Okay, because when he took over the known world at that time, okay, Asia, okay, parts of what's the name of that particular region? Basically, when he conquered the known world at that time, and he pushed forth and westward, hey, he was at war his whole time, and hey, after the 12th, he died. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because hey, the Most High has it in his heart for these devils to be men of the sword, man. Okay, that's why Alexander really never saw any peace, and when he divided his kingdom into his 4 generals, they saw a lot of infighting. Okay, the Diadochi Wars, you had the Ptolemaic Wars. Okay, you had the Seleucid dynasty. Okay, Antiochus. All these men were known for war. Okay, in Joel 2:20 it says, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army." Who is that talking about? America. And which proves that America is going to be replaced by a foreign military. Okay, and would drive him into a land barren and desolate, which we went into that being Saudi Arabia, with his face towards the east sea, and the hinder parts towards the utmost sea, and his stink should come up, and his ill savor should come up, because he have done great things. I mean, they're going to be totally destroyed, man. Okay, because when Yahweh comes back during the midst of World War III, he's going to put all these nations in subjection, and those that don't bow down, he's going to utterly destroy them. Okay, so it says, "Fear not, O land, and be glad and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things." And that's the point. He's doing a great thing through these prophecies. All right, but anyway, I'm gonna end it there, brothers. Giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. And with that, shalom and a Bible ball. Shalom.